Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Mighty Stream, and I'm brought to you by Hope Through Navigation, and this is our Hood Recovery Services. Today is July the 10th, and I am going to be doing your spiritual principle a day from Narcotics Anonymous meditation in a literature. It's a new meditation, so I just want to make sure that I get going on this project and make sure that I'm consistent with having them available. I have to admit, I really, really love the Just for Today NA meditation. I am not quite a fan yet of the spiritual principle a day. However, I do see where I am enjoying having it added to my morning, to my day. And so I'm going to stay open-minded and see where this goes. But I'm excited to do do the spiritual principle a day meditation with you. And the reason why I'm excited to do it is because it gives me a purpose every day, a type of service that I can give to individuals that want it, to be able to hear some discussion on the meditation. I'm not trying to replace your sponsor or your step worker, anything like that. I am just trying to be helpful. So I hope that you enjoy it. July 10th, Striving to be Humble Servants, page 199. Being asked to lead, to serve, to accept responsibility is a humbling experience for a recovering addict. 12 concepts for NA service, fourth concept. While using, most of us were not asked to lead anything. When we did have such experiences, they were often opportunities for our character defects to feed like vampires on their victims' blood. Our ravenous need for protection and validation, our self-importance, competitivism, and attention-seeking branded those situations. Others of us imploded with self-doubt. We couldn't ask for help, didn't feel we had anything to offer, or were too high to show up. Such experiences only made us more isolated and fearful, and even less willing to take on responsibilities if anyone bothered to ask again. When it comes to service, our 1-2 punch of low self-esteem and high self-importance follows us into the rooms. If we are asked to take out the rubbish, it requires asking someone where to. And even that can be hard for us. If we're asked to lead a meeting, we need assurance that we don't have to wow them with war stories, real or imagined, or slay with our comic genius. All we have to do is show up and be honest. When we lack humility, everything is more complicated than it needs to be. If we are willing, we'll end up in service positions that suit our innate talents, some that will grow into with support, and others that will expose our defects to the bone. Humility is the vehicle that allows us to accept responsibility without serving our ego. We can do something well without showing off, just as we can do something awkwardly or even fail at it with grace. Next time I'm asked to serve, I'll just do the task as well as possible. That's what really matters. Wow, what a beautiful spiritual principle to consider today, humility. I like that. I think I spoke a little bit about humility and courage going hand in hand in the other meditation. And so I believe that this is a beautiful topic. I think it somehow captures the essence of us as individuals in recovery. We either worry too much or we worry too little. Either we're consumed with poor self-esteem or we're consumed with too much ego. And the whole point of recovery is for us to find balance with these thoughts we have about ourselves, with thoughts that we have about other people, with our feelings and our emotions, and being able to truly navigate, with grace, going through um, the difficulty, just the difficulty of trying to show up and doing a good job, making some mistakes with grace, as this meditation pointed out, and not have it be the end of the world. I can remember a couple of trying experiences I had, and um, I felt like I failed. I mean, a life was at stake, and the person didn't die, so that's good, right? They had overdosed, and what I was able to do was able to help them hold on long enough till the paramedics could get there. But it wasn't my first option to do CPR, right? My first option was to use a Narcan kit. At that time, they weren't the nasal type. They were the kind that you had to give a shot, and I could not draw that medication into the needle in order to give it to him. And I felt like I failed horribly. And I cast it aside because I was losing time, and did CPR, once again, unprotected CPR on a overdosed opioid addict. And fortunately, it was enough breath in her body to hold on until the paramedics arrived. And I remember just beating up on myself for months, because the facility at that time that I was in charge of, we did several Narcan kit training sessions, and I organized them and had people sign up. And I was just ashamed that I was doing all of that work, and the simplest things seemed to be so far away from me in the heat of that moment, in the urgency of that moment. And I can remember several people coming up to me, "You've changed since that happened." Yeah, my pride had taken quite a hit. I thought I should be able to accomplish it in a moment of stress, and I wasn't, and it didn't end terribly bad. Like I said, she survived, so I did something right, but it was really difficult for me to accept that I didn't know how to do it accurately in a moment like that. And I just want to encourage you, if you're that person, and truly, probably some of the stuff that you might do service work in aren't that intense, right? But maybe you can relate a little bit to being asked to do some service and doing it and feeling like you weren't qualified to be able to do it. And so I want you to remember this, if nothing else. I want you to remember this, if nothing else, is that we put our best foot forward. We don't always get it right, right? Be humble enough so that you can learn from your mistakes, and be humble enough that when you do an excellent job, you can receive all the accolades that come with that excellent job, in the same type of grace that you can receive that feeling of not being able to do what you were setting out to do perfectly. You need that grace, and humility is the vehicle that moves you into that. My name is Mighty Stream, and I am excited to do this spiritual principle of humility with you today. And this is coming from our fourth concept. We have 12 concepts, just like we have 12 steps and 12 traditions. There's these 12 concepts of service. And so we just want to be diligent. And remember that part of our 12th step is carrying the message to the addict that still suffers, right? And practicing all these spiritual principles in all of our affairs. And so we want to seriously consider, when we move forward in something and someone asks something of us, if we believe in ourselves or we don't, we want to move forward, and we want to be able to do it in what? Humility. My name is Mighty Stream, and I've enjoyed your company this evening, and I look forward